welcome to TSP Weekly. This is your tech startup podcast for Thursday, August the 27th, 2015. Today we are recording once again at the wonderful Velocity Garage in the Trogdor room.
Yep.
It seems like we're always in the Trogdor room these days when we come to Velocity Garage.
It's true.
Nothing wrong with that?
Yep.
All right.
Homestar runner.
Yep. My name is Darren Conley. I'm a local tech entrepreneur here in Kitchener-Waterloo. Joining me as always is my wonderful co-host, fellow tech entrepreneur Stephen Campbell. How you doing today, Stephen?
I'm really looking forward to this weekend. We have Startup Weekend Guelph happening, y'all.
That's right. Yeah, and we're doing some recording at Startup Weekend Guelph.
Yeah, we're going to go pick the brains of some of the interesting Guelph startup people and entrepreneurs. Guest, TSP Weekly correspondent.
Well, former guest, now joining us as a guest host.
Guest host, yeah.
For the weekend,
so, Amaris Gerson is going to be helping us out on Sunday and on Friday and Sunday as well for the Guelph Startup Weekend. So looking forward to that.
And you might remember her from the Hacker Nest, the second Hacker Nest podcast we did. We've done two, but
Correct,
the most recent one. And she's also employed at Magnet Forensics. We did an interview with the founders of Magnet Forensics as well in the past. But yes, Amaris will be joining us. I myself can't make it on Sunday, so it'll just be Stephen and Amaris on Sunday. But on Friday,
you have plans with the battleship, don't you?
Yeah, we've got my own startup actually has stuff going on. Imagine that.
Virtual reality tour of a battleship. It sounds cool.
Of a World War II battleship.
Yeah,
so
neat stuff.
We'll be doing some demos on Sunday, and hopefully Amaris and Stephen will not drop the ball. I have full faith in you guys, actually. I can't
wait.
Yeah, no, that'll
Should
be awesome.
fun.
Yep. We don't know, by the way, when we're going to release that episode because we do have guests booked for the next several weeks, but we'll figure something out. It might be a month from now. It might be a week or two, but
it might just be our gift to you,
it's true.
The listener.
So stay tuned. We'll find out. We'll see when that comes. But joining us today, we have the wonderful Miss Sarah Landstreet. Is it Miss? I just said that assuming something. I should have. But maybe it doesn't matter.
I'll answer the miss, yes.
We have Sarah Landstreet joining us today.
Take two.
She is the founder of Georgette Packaging and I guess not so newly now, joined the Velocity Garage. It's been
about 2 months
a couple
ago.
months. Yeah. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Good to have you.
Welcome to the garage.
Thanks.
My first question is, who's Georgette?
I get this a lot. Have you heard of the Mary Tyler Moore Show?
Yes, I've heard of it. I have heard of it. I haven't watched it.
I want to say this is dating myself, but it's not. This is way before
Not
my
with
time
us.
as well.
I remember it like when I was like 7 years old. It was on like in reruns.
Yeah, so there's a character on there called Georgette, and I like the name. But it's also a practical name because it alludes to, it's a bit vintage. We're manufacturing. It's kind of old school. People don't associate it with anything. So it's really, if you Google it, there's very little that comes up. People can instinctively spell it, even if they haven't heard the name before.
Sure.
Yeah,
It's kind of masculine.
It's two G's, two E's, two T's.
Two G's, two E's, two T's. That's true,
Right.
yeah?
Yep.
Whereas if you had called it Sarah Packaging, they'd be like, is that Sarah with an H, Sarah without an H?
Well, there's just Sarah everything out there. There's a lot of Sarahs.
That's true.
And a lot of
Fair enough.
Georgettes.
Right.
So.
Okay, that
It's
works.
memorable.
Was the character on Mary Tyler Moore involved in packaging at all or shipping? No,
she just had a cute name. That's
Oh,
all.
okay. Okay.
Have you thought of any branding, like having a little Georgette character?
No.
A box with cute eyelashes named Georgette?
No, I haven't. I'm trying to stay out of the cutesy wootsy
Sure.
Yep.
end of the world.
Yes,
Yeah.
packaging is
Yeah.
serious business, man.
It is a serious business.
Well, tell us
Yeah.
about what Georgette Packaging does. I figure with the word packaging in it, it involves packaging.
It
things,
does,
but,
correct.
Yeah. What makes you
Nothing
different?
escapes you.
Well, thank you. What makes you unique among the packaging options out there?
Yeah, sure. So we specifically cater to small businesses. Right now, it's very difficult for small businesses to get branded packaging. First, because they need smaller quantities. They can't commit to 10,000, 50,000 boxes. The process of ordering packaging is also very complex. It requires a lot of technical knowledge. Most manufacturers, it just isn't worth it to them to talk to a small business. Just the process of quoting is so elaborate that they would lose whatever margin they had in just preparing such a quote, and it generally wouldn't be a good fit. So I basically figured this out. I used to own a bakery for several years, and it was a problem to me. And I thought, well, perhaps this is a problem for other bakeries, other small businesses, and is there some solution that I could come up with? So essentially, we're like the layer of intelligence between small businesses and manufacturers. So for the small businesses, we present to them exactly what information they need. We know what they're looking for. We know where they're looking for suppliers, the type of boxes that they're looking for, and we really simplify what's available so they're not overwhelmed by the options, and it's easy to understand. From the manufacturer's perspective, if we bring them one single order, it's annoying for them to process. So we would gather lots and lots of smaller orders, bundle them up, and take that as a whole to a manufacturer that we choose at that point.
So you're putting a whole bunch of different people's graphics on one imposition then, and just doing a big run through the printers, and then just having the paper come out and cutting it?
Yeah, that's kind of like that. Yeah.
Something like that? Because if you
so
take somebody to a printer and say, I want 50 of this design, they don't want to reset that all up and hang the plates and do all that kind of stuff again and again.
Right, exactly. So there's savings both at the printing stage, at die cutting, and at folding gluing, because we batch so many things. Also in terms of they're called dies. It's like a big cookie cutter that punches out a box. Basically, we purchase all of those on behalf of our clients. So and then we share them for lots of people. So if you were to get 5 different box sizes, you're saving $10,000 to $15,000 just in that by working with us, because you don't have to buy the dies.
Okay. Now, when you're talking about batching the orders, then are you taking say 5 different clients who all want boxes of the same size but possibly different branding and putting?
Oh yeah, they all have custom branding. So that's the whole key, right? Is to be like, how can I get just 500 boxes in your hand that have your brand on them? Right.
And what I'm just trying to figure out what makes that easier from the printing and the manufacturing of the packaging material, as opposed to, you're saying it's a pain for them to do small runs, right?
Yeah. So, well, first of all, once I bring, say we're taking 50 orders all batched together, it's the processing cost of that is more worth it because the overall scale of the order is much greater.
Even if it is different branding for each
it's still less. It's still less paperwork. In addition, for the board that we're buying it in much larger quantities. It's worth it to take a truck out to the paper mill. We're setting up the printing press for a particular sheet size and caliper. We run also on uncoated stock. It's a very unique finish, and so it takes some setup for that. The die cutters also are set up for once you mount a die, you're using it for many, many boxes. Same thing with a folder gluer. So that's actually what kills a small run, is not the cost of running these expensive machines. It's to set them up.
Right.
And so it's like that massive setup cost is spread across the shoulders of many, many small businesses. We're all sharing it. And so it becomes much less of a deterrent that way. So.
How are you working with the customers on the art side? So I have a podcast, and I'm going to be setting up
need boxes.
a mystery. Yeah, we're thinking about doing a mystery TSP Weekly mystery box.
Cool. Like a subscription kind of stuff?
It's a giveaway contest. When companies come on and we talk to them, they bring a sticker or a T-shirt or a box or a giveaway. Yep. And then we we do it weekly. So we put 4 in and give 1 away a month or something like that. So we need something to put our stickers and our T-shirts and our swag in to then give away to a listener that checks a box or gives us something.
And really, we would just need the boxes. We don't need, we don't need them, the items custom fitted inside that. We can pack them ourselves.
Right. Sure. You just need the boxes themselves.
Yeah.
So we need 12. That would give us a year.
Well, maybe 20. Oh yeah, 12 for a year, I guess.
Yeah, we're doing 1 a month kind of thing, or so we don't have.
Would it be worthwhile for us to go through you like that?
No, our minimum is 500, which sounds like a lot, but it's actually really, really low for packaging.
Sure.
So
what would the typical minimums be if somebody was not going through you?
Generally, most manufacturers do 5,000 as their minimum.
Okay.
Yeah.
That would do the podcast for years.
That would do the podcast, I'm sure, beyond the life of the actual podcast.
Yeah. So let me finish my question, and we got off there. So I have this business, and I need some boxes. Obviously, I need more than I thought I did.
You need 500 boxes.
So I have this logo that I've done. Do you have any pre-press kind of, or who's the graphic person?
Look at you and your tech terms. Yeah. So we work both. So some of our clients have graphic designers or branding companies, and
Right.
we send them the die line, which is basically the template of the box, and they would apply whatever graphics they want. We have a lot of clients who actually are graphic designers. Here in town, Honey Bake Shop is a client of ours, and the owner, Darlene, is a super talented graphic designer, so she does it herself. Or someone might say like you, hey, I have a logo. Can you apply it? You know, can you take my branding elements, my existing branding elements, and turn them into some packaging? And so we have designers that we work with that would help with that. What we're working toward is to have more of an online template system where, you know, similar to Vistaprint or Moo or Jukebox Print or something like that, you can upload your branding elements and superimpose them on some different backgrounds that we're working on right now. So we have that's like the direction we're going, because we want to help people to play around themselves. Yeah. Exactly.
That was actually my next question is what kind of interface does somebody use if they want to connect with you, make use of your business? Is there an online place where you can place an order or pick your box sizes or whatever, or do we just kind of give you a call? How does it work?
Fax me. No, send me a carrier pigeon. So that's actually the reason why I came to Waterloo, is because my goal with the business was to first check that there was an actual need. I did tons of interviews with businesses across Canada to see their current packaging situation, what they'd like to see. And then I partnered up with a manufacturer, and then I started seeing if I could take orders. I wanted to get quite a bit of traction before building a tech
company.
Tech component, basically.
Sure.
A tech giant, exactly. So we've got about 70 business clients across Canada, the United States. We're just about to hit $500,000 in sales, and very maxed out in terms of processes. So that's why I moved here, and the idea was, okay, well, you know, Velocity specializes so much in tech and sort of building out that aspect of a company. So I said, okay, this is where I'm strong, is sales, and I could maybe help other people in the garage with that, but this is where I really need your help. So since I got here, I've hired a developer, and so we're working now to develop sort of the whole e-commerce side to it, and really building that system in the middle that will optimize all the orders, group them intelligently, pass them into the ERP system at the manufacturers. Yeah.
And so how have you been working up until now then?
Yeah, just manually, just like, you.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you can go to the website and you can like put in the information, like I'm interested in these different box sizes. Yeah. You know, here's some other information about what I'm looking for, and then we generate a quote very quickly. So
okay. Yeah. So if one of our listeners, like as soon as they hear this, wanted to make use of your services, that's how you do it right now. Go through the website.
Yeah. Just georgettepackaging.com, and it's all there.
Okay.
So,
2 G's, 2 E's, 2 T's.
That's my new tagline. I'm gonna make like a little sing song with that.
So you came from London, Ontario, did you? Is that where all these boxes are being printed?
Just a little bit west of here, actually, in Ingersoll.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right. Neat.
Yeah, cool. Glorious Ingersoll.
Glorious Ingersoll.
I was going to ask then, I want to get a little bit more into the history of your cupcake company, and things like that, because I think that's all of that is kind of preparation for where you ended up today. But just wondering about, we were talking about the online interface. Is there a timeline for when you're hoping to have that out?
So I'm actually going to be at the Canada's Baking and Sweet Show. It's like Canada's largest baking trade show at the end of September, so we're aiming to launch for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Do you need any podcasters to go along as food tasters?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Are there a lot of samples at a show like that?
I would imagine there are.
Tons.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that thing existed. But
do you have to pay to get into that? I'm guessing you do, huh?
I actually don't know, because I was an exhibitor, but
gotcha. Because we're super cheap. Anyway,
be my honorary staff for the day or something.
Yeah, that's right. It would be interesting, actually, because maybe there's some interesting technology for the food industry.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm trying to find a way to justify being able to visit a baking conference and get all
with a straight
samples.
face. You were doing a really good job.
Great. Well, listen, before we get into kind of your backstory, Sarah, let's take a quick pause here and throw in our commercial spot for Igloo Software. So Igloo is our sponsor for the Tech Startup Podcast. And take a listen and check this out.
When you use our product, you should be able to use it right away.
Igloo is kind of like a big box of Lego. If you know how to use it, you can turn it into anything you want.
You don't have to have a giant crew to work with Igloo. You can just turn it on and it just works.
The good thing about Igloo is that it's not forcing you to learn how to use the platform. The platform learns how to be used by you.
I mean, my life could be drowning in paperwork, but instead I have one platform to keep my life organized.
Igloo, an internet you'll actually like.
Now, Igloo is in their new office, so we have to get over there and check it out.
Are they over there for sure?
Yep.
Oh.
I officially got the new letter in the mail.
Oh.
Please change your whatever.
Billing?
Our billing address. Our address has changed, yeah.
Excellent.
So they're officially in.
That's great.
So,
yeah, we'll go visit. Maybe
road
we'll do
trip.
more free donuts. I feel like so much of my life revolves around trying to get free
Lurching
pastries.
from that's tech like world, right?
Yes.
I've heard actually the Velocity Garage here. There are like
I've had to work out more since I moved here.
The one time we were here, there was somebody came in with a big tray of like McFlurries or something.
Every Thursday.
Is that what it is? Every
Yep.
Thursday? And isn't there like Eastside Mario's like once a week or once a month or something?
Yeah, there's like a big supper once a month there.
Once a month, right?
Who's that? Is that one set that's paying for that? So you guys have to use their app then to work off the calories? Yeah.
I wonder. Man, I don't know what it is. I know we're on a tangent here, but when I visited, I had a little tour of Google's headquarters in this same building we're in right now. And the thing that impressed me most about the whole thing was like, they have like free cookies and free like beef jerky, and I'm sure it costs them a few bucks here and there. Mm-hmm. But I'm telling you, if I was
so
working
easily
there,
impressed, right?
that would be the thing that draws me. I have to work for these people because it's all you can eat beef jerky.
It's all about the cookie.
It's crazy. So Sarah, let's dive into a little bit of your backstory here. Now, I believe I read on your website that was it in Northern Ireland you had your cupcake business?
Yeah, it was. Yep.
Wow. So that's
obviously
that's a whole other
Right.
part of the world, right?
It is.
How did you find yourself in Northern Ireland making cupcakes?
A lot of green cupcakes over there.
That's
are.
probably a stereotype, but fair enough.
Shamrocks.
And orange. So I'm actually a mechanical engineer by trade.
Oh,
so
okay.
I had been working in London, England as a consulting engineer. And there were a lot of American bakeries that had started up there. And it was like brownies were taking the UK by storm.
Wow.
And so I decided that I want a bit of a career change at 22. So I quit.
I've had enough of engineering at 22.
I'm done. Yeah, like a very early crisis. So I quit my engineering job and I decided to move to Northern Ireland to start a cupcake bakery, which arguably, looking back, it seems kind of like a strange thing to move to this like post-conflict zone to start a baking.
People
But
need cupcakes. I mean,
well, that's the thing
wherever you are, right?
is people have such a big affinity for North American culture there, and
Do they really?
huge because some people have emigrated here, and especially Northern Ireland because of the troubles. Trends hit a little bit later there, and
Sure.
my
Elvis
mom
is big, or is it David Hasselhoff now?
Yeah, they just discovered it. So my mom is from Belfast, so she emigrated because of the war, for instance, here. So
Sure.
I was keen to kind of go check it out and see where she came from. And
Does your mom have the accent? Mm-hmm. So can you put on the accent
No,
when you
don't
want to? I'm not necessarily now. I'm not going to put you on the spot, but I mean,
totally putting this.
I'm assuming growing up with it, you could turn it on if you needed to, right? Did it help when you were in Ireland? Did you
No, it helped.
talk
It helped.
Irish?
It helped
Yeah.
to keep my accent.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
Yeah, 'cause then-
it was better to keep the Canadian accent.
Oh yeah, 'cause then people are like, these are authentic. It's like going to a restaurant and they're like, our chef is Mexican, and you're like, that doesn't mean anything.
Right.
Just because they're actually from Mexico.
That's interesting. Yes, I've always wondered: is there any part of the world where having a North American accent actually benefits you? Right?
Oh, yeah.
Because I always
North
assume
America.
they think you're stupider when they hear that you're from the U.S. or Canada. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah,
Apparently,
no,
Northern Ireland is a plus. Right?
Yeah.
I found it
Yeah.
interesting as we walked into the Trogdor room today. The Irish blessing is written down on a board right outside, but
Yeah,
it's tweaked. The ending is just tweaked a little bit.
One of the other startups must be looking
Trend
for some
radio.
extra.
Yeah. May the
karma.
roads rise to meet you and the wind always be at your back. I had that on a plaque as a kid, and it was called the Irish blessing.
Oh,
Yeah, which was
cool.
neat.
Interesting.
Yeah, it made me think of my grandmother.
Well, getting back to the cupcakes.
How do you go from cupcakes to grandmothers?
No, it's great. So you found yourself up there starting a cupcake business.
So moved there, started. I did not know how to bake. It was just an interesting project. I
Did
just
you
thought-
partner with an existing North American franchise?
No,
or-
I did nothing clever like that.
Oh,
I just
okay.
rocked up and started baking and started going to markets. No, it was like the most. I was just making stuff up, literally.
Wow.
But
and like out of your own kitchen where you were living, or did you have like?
Yeah, I worked from home to begin.
Okay.
I did that for quite a while, and then I moved into a commercial kitchen. I decided not to go retail because I had classes became about half of my business, and I did tons of catering. So I had like this really, really large space with lots of
So you're teaching classes?
Training. Yeah, because I found people there were like, yeah, we like cupcakes, but none of us know how to actually make them.
Right.
And that was like an even like greater fantasy to like be able to. I know it sounds strange, but like
for them or for you?
For them.
Oh, for them. Okay. I was like, you have a fantasy to
I had
teach
no
people to make cupcakes?
No.
Okay.
There's
No,
an
for
interesting
them.
form of fulfillment. Yes.
Yeah, well, whatever. That's your boat.
So you went over there and you taught yourself how to make cupcakes.
I did, and then I taught
and
other
then
people.
Very quickly taught other people. So you're like a cupcake mentor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And now I'm like a cupcake business mentor. Now I'm like a bakery because now I spend all day talking to bakeries. So
Yeah. Fair enough.
I know a lot about bakeries and
That's really cool.
opening bakeries and selling bakeries and
So how long were you in the cupcake business then?
I did that for 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I sold it end of 2011.
Okay.
So my mom sold it and then informed me. And
Yeah.
then
How did that happen?
she put an ad in the paper. She was like, okay, cool, it's time for you to come back to Canada. And she put an ad in the paper. And
In Canada or over?
in Northern Ireland, because
yeah.
she knows the papers. She knew like which one to put in.
Okay.
And within a week it was sold. So it was like, all right, I guess I'm packing my bags.
Wow.
So how many sheep did you get for it?
How many sheep? It's funny you say that because I'm actually a certified sheep shearer.
Wow.
Oh, really?
So,
There's a
fun
certification
fact.
for that.
Oh, I have a plaque.
Wow.
Speaking of plaques. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm learning so much on this
I have to
podcast.
mark off one
This
of
is
my
awesome.
questions now for later.
Yeah, fair
oh well.
enough. How am I allowed to ask? Like, did you come out ahead on the sale of your business? Like,
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
good,
Yeah.
good.
And
Excellent.
it was good. I came back here and I did my MBA, so it helped to fund that.
That's awesome.
So
And you had some
yeah.
mad sheep shearing skills too.
I did, right?
Did you bring
Super
those over? Or did you learn
useful.
those there?
Yeah, did you develop the certification in Ireland? I'm just wondering. No, I don't know. I'm just.
First, I learned to
You-
teach myself. No,
You're the
I,
first person I've met with a sheep shearing certification. I've got to extract
From
as much.
cupcake
I
Take
thought
the
it would be
sheep
like a useful skill.
Yeah.
It was hard. Yeah, they only offer it to farmers normally, so I had to kind of like wrangle my way into getting the training.
But in
Had to buy
Ireland
some
or
overalls.
here?
Yeah. So I worked on a beef and sheep farm there for like a year too. Just
Oh, wow.
As an aside.
That's so you have a good fallback option. If the
Yeah,
packaging
I have a
doesn't
lot
work
of plan
out.
Bs. Like,
I guess there's always engineering too. Right?
Yes,
But,
yes.
yeah. But
I just have this picture of
That's like
cupcakes with sheep hair in them, and it's driving me nuts
Oh,
right
probably
now.
not so appetizing.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
it's
fair enough.
it's collided. It's not a good Reese's peanut butter cup thing. No.
Fair enough. No, it's not a good combination. So, what? How did you bump up against the packaging issues in your business then?
It was a pain for yourself, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
they were expensive. It's super hard to compete as a small bakery because there are so few barriers to starting a bakery, and so people have not a hard time telling which is which, but it's like there are just so many of them. So whatever you can do to differentiate is super important. People can do that on their product really well, and I'd say there are a lot of other businesses for small or services for small businesses now, which are great, like business cards, logos, websites, all that's terrific. But packaging, which is literally the most, for a small business, it's the most direct form of marketing. It's like you're arming every client with marketing material and they're going out and spreading the word for you. It's a huge problem for small businesses not to have that, and it makes them much less competitive. So, and I saw these larger bakeries and larger food businesses that are very, brand oriented, especially with social media. Like everyone wants to share their local favorite business. If all they have to show is a picture of food, you can't tell where that came from.
Right.
And so bigger businesses benefit so much. They just like milk the fact that they have wonderful packaging. So I was trying to just, can we make that accessible to a smaller demographic, basically?
You guys, are you doing pizza boxes at all?
No, we don't
Okay.
do pizza boxes. We really focus on bakery boxes because it has to be a business where they, bakeries tend to be a little bit higher end. It's more of a luxury. Pizza, people are going often just on cost. If you're going to a local bakery, you're not comparing to cupcakes at Walmart. You're going there for the experience, and
Right.
it's a gift, and it's something that you're, taking home to treat yourself and your family, or you're taking to someone else's house, and you want it to be beautifully presented. I don't think people feel exactly the same about most pizza purchases.
Right.
So it's more important to bakeries and chocolate companies and a lot of that type of
Sweet stuff.
Sweets, yeah.
Have you done any or had any conversations with some of the other tech companies in Velocity about like if they're manufacturing hardware and they need packaging provided for that?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. So like
it's
Lonnie,
not exclusively bakery stuff necessarily. That's just
no,
where
I
you're
mean
starting.
the idea with the boxes is that they're multi-purpose. I mean, it's just a box, right? So it's like you can put tennis socks or tiddlywinks or whatever you want in there. But
I've never put tiddlywinks in a box.
Right?
I really haven't lived.
I like the alliteration in tennis socks and tiddlywinks.
Oh, unintentional.
Of course. Fair enough.
But you know, in terms of our marketing, we focus on bakeries just because we know it's such a big need there, and our boxes are so specifically perfect for their needs, basically.
Yeah, and you obviously have a huge expertise there, recognizing that need yourself.
Yeah, I know the business.
What is the next step? Do you see a branch out, or is there enough bakery box business?
How about that for alliteration? Bakery box business is
on the
good.
horizon for you to...
Yeah, there's a lot there for sure. I'd say I'd almost be more interested. So right now we just ship within North America. We do have a handful of clients in Europe, but I would say the next step would be to branch out geographically, say to get into Europe. Bakeries are really, really massive though. But yeah, I can see beyond that. You know, I have a lot of chocolate companies contacting me. I have a lot of tea companies, sort of areas like that would be very easy to get into
more
as
enough
well.
And sort of the
packaging matters a lot in those industries.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
Now, how did what you learned doing the cupcake business in Ireland, how did that carry over when you came back to Canada? Is it essentially the same kind of processes that you're involved in, or is there much difference between how packaging is done there compared to here, or was there a learning curve when you decided you wanted to get into this?
I'd say
Guinness in a can was hard, probably.
the Guinness in a can.
Yeah, that we have over
very
here.
very rough coming back to that.
Oh, of course.
I'd say I didn't know as much about, like when I was there, I didn't look into how major manufacturers worked, and I have a really good understanding of how manufacturing works here, but I've been surprised, I guess, to see how similar it is. So I think, you know, I have a lot of bakeries in the UK getting in touch with me, in Australia. They have very similar problems. They're literally using the exact same boxes I used back in 2008. And often, in most cases, they're paying more for those boxes than we sell our branded boxes for. So they're expensive. Wow. They're very samey. There's very little variety. And I'd say the manufacturing sector is equally as inaccessible, hard to understand, and just not really aware of this market.
Sure.
Not really focused on it.
Yeah, you mentioned you're getting these international calls. Are you making plans to expand internationally beyond North America?
So the key there would be to find manufacturing facilities there, just because shipping in North America is very affordable because it's all on land, obviously. We have a few clients in Hawaii and the U.S. Virgin Islands, so we can get there. But once you get to Europe, it's a big old hike in shipping. So I'd have to look into getting manufacturers there.
Okay, so it's just building relationships with new potential partners.
Yeah, and sort of understanding fully like their level of like having a method of checking how good their work is, basically on a very like I'm at every single press approval here, so I can get there very easily and monitor things really closely. I've spent a lot of time in the factories here, so I know how everything works.
It might be a good excuse for a trip to Europe or Australia, right?
Good point.
It's all on business.
Yeah.
Of course.
Sarah, you strike me as a pretty intelligent, dynamic individual. What's sort of surprised you in this process that you weren't expecting? Has it been like hiring that developer? Was that tough? Or is it like what's been sort of the hardest thing or the biggest surprise for you? It sounds like it's all kind of challenging, but what was like, I didn't think it would be that hard to
do that.
Yeah. I guess what's been challenging, but also an interesting addition to the business is learning so much about how manufacturing, like the packaging industry, works. Literally at the beginning, it was like, okay, understand my customers, what they're looking for, focus on art, website build. And then there was like this one line item, like, find manufacture boxes. Like it's like super simple.
One thing to check off. That should be easy.
Just get that done. And so I've been surprised to see, I guess, how much potential there is in sort of these more old school industries. And I find that like the most exciting part of this business actually is like not only, okay, of course, like democratization of design and helping small businesses and they get to hire, but on the flip side, I'm helping manufacturers because this can bring them orders without them having to do all their sort of complex processes that they do. Sure. So essentially onshoring manufacturing, instead of this business going to Asia and it being generic boxes, I'm helping support jobs locally for factories and just understanding like what are their challenges and how I originally set out to solve the problems of smaller businesses, but I think I'm going to be able to and have already been solving problems for manufacturers as well. So I find that really exciting that I can actually influence such a large old industry. Like you mentioned the printing press before. Literally, we use lithographic printing presses. They are, they ushered in the Enlightenment. Like they are one of the most fundamental technologies of the last couple millennia. So
I saw a picture of you standing on a Heidelberg.
Yeah,
that was pretty cool.
Yeah, and I went to Heidelberg this February to it's like Mecca of printing.
Yeah, and that's in Germany.
Yeah, it is.
German
exactly.
There's a
company.
Mecca of printing.
Oh yeah, as opposed to Heidelberg here, which is right. Yeah.
Math.
Yes.
And there is a Heidelberg just north of Kitchener, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've driven through that corner.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the other.
I wanted to say, I think it's amazing. Kind of the heart of entrepreneurship is about finding a specialized niche or acquiring specialized knowledge and being able to put that, make that into a business somehow, right? And I'm always surprised when I come across another entrepreneur who's found something like, the shipping industry or the packaging industry is not an area that I considered like there's room for disruption or improvement for people who know what's going on in this area, right? But what I always think too is like, how do I acquire that knowledge? So maybe that's my next question for you is like, how did you go about getting your fingers deep into how things work in the packaging industry when you decided you want to do this? How did you check off that one item on your to-do list?
That year and a half check off.
Yeah, that's
project.
right.
You went to Germany.
I was lucky actually because my first manufacturing partner I just found through a family friend. It was literally like I told everyone I met I'm looking for a box manufacturer, and an old neighbor said, "Oh, we've got a friend," and you're thinking like, sure.
Yeah, of
but
course
then
you do.
I called him up and he was like, "Yep, I know exactly what you're doing. We can totally help you."
Wow.
And what was great is that I ended up working in the factory for the first year.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, just learning about, I was very hands on deck. Like I would run any machine that like health and safety would let me.
And did you just ask them, like, can I just come to your factory and learn all the ins and outs about everything? They're
No,
like, sure,
it wasn't
come on
that
in?
strategic. It was just like,
okay.
I just kind of started hanging out there all the time. And then I would learn, and then it was like, oh, you have to do prototypes. And the prototyping guy was off at that point. And then I figured out, oh, the CAD software that they use is very similar to what I used as an undergrad. So cool, I'll just do my own prototyping.
So you just sort of show up in the smoking section and then who's not here today? And then sit at their desk for a while?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's
I like that
literally
idea.
what I did.
Yeah, no, I can do that.
And everyone was like, we don't get what this, because they're a bunch of like,
what are you doing
What
here?
is this random person floating around?
I just got hired.
Yeah, I don't know.
Did you get hired? No, I don't work here. I'm just hanging out.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did
I'm
you
a
get
consultant.
hired?
Yeah, I eventually actually did do some work for them as well because
Okay.
it was unusual for them to have, an engineer on staff. I got really good at prototyping. I did some sales for them. So I was basically just like completely immersed in the factory and just trying to understand the manufacturing process as well as I could and figure out like, okay, this is annoying for a pressman. Therefore, I should not like specify that my clients can have, because I've worked with a lot of packaging designers who will maybe specify something, you take it to the printer and they're like,
Let's do a rich black
physically
here. This will be
impossible.
awesome.
Yeah, no, we can't even do that. So I wanted to understand from that perspective how I could simplify everything to make it as affordable as possible for the small businesses.
Right.
Plus I just love factories and I just love being there, and
Really?
oh, it was the best.
I had a summer job once when I was like, I don't know, 21 or something. You had done far more by the time you were 21, I think, than I had. But anyway, I had a job like sweeping up at this motor rewinding company, electric motor rewinding, and I actually learned a lot about electric motors just by like hanging. Because I
just absorb a lot being around there.
Yeah, and
right?
I had so little to actually do there. Like
Right.
anything I had to actually do, I was done in like an hour and a half. Okay. So I would like hang out by the guy who's like winding the coils and learn how to use the machine that did all that.
Yeah,
and I'd, do sandblasting of the rotors and stators and whatever. And I haven't been able to put it to any entrepreneurial, endeavor. Put that knowledge to making something work there.
But it makes a great story.
But it is, I think it says something about like if you're interested in something, like start going and hanging out in those spots because
and most people there, like they've worked in the factory for 20 years or 50 years and they know everything about printing, and they don't generally have people coming in being all like keen, enthusiastic and asking them how their job works. So everyone was super generous and just teaching me everything, so I absorbed so much information that year.
So would you say that's a good idea for people who are aspiring entrepreneurs who are looking to develop specialized knowledge in some area, like call up some businesses, ask them if you can come and like shadow people and stuff?
I don't know how businesses would feel about folks doing that, but I'd say the more you can learn, especially in manufacturing, I think that people sort of think that, you can just call them up and ask them and kind of get how it works. But spending time there, you will get answers to the questions that it would never have occurred to you to ask. And logging a year there, like I'm still learning about printing because it's such a complex technology.
Sure.
But absolutely, yeah.
And I'd like to think that the people who have been working there for 20 or 30 or 40 years, at least some of them would welcome the opportunity to share the wealth of their knowledge a little bit, to show off a bit about what they've, what they're specialized in.
Yeah, and I think from the business owner's perspective, what can be nice is to have, say you have someone who's younger, who's an entrepreneur, or who's keen to start a business, for them to come in and say they're shadowing someone, but to say, okay, well, we're going to maybe hire you part-time or you can volunteer, but give us ideas on what you notice in our business after you've learned a bit about it. Maybe you have some thoughts or...
Sort of that intrapreneur. Like you come into our business and then be disruptive within the confines of our fences or our walls.
Yeah,
right?
And especially in older industries where everyone's worked in that industry, like literally their parents worked in it and their grandparents worked in it. So having a new person come in who has never been in a printing factory before, they might say like, oh, well, why don't you guys use this that's used in another industry or another, I don't know, in engineering or something that I had encountered elsewhere.
This is a forest? I thought this was just a bunch of trees.
Imagine
I get
you. I got to say, I'm astounded by kind of your journey here, like between like shearing sheep and making cupcakes and like mastering the ins and outs of manufacturing and there's that engineering thing, whatever, right?
Yeah, you're a really cool mix of like a thinker but a doer. Like you just go and do a whole bunch of stuff, which is really cool instead of just like...
It's an excellent mix of qualities, I think, for a successful entrepreneur, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Really
There you go.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, hopefully, exactly.
So let's talk about the team a little bit. It's a one-man band, a one-woman band now, or you've added a developer, or what's...
I do. I have a contract developer. I work with a lot of freelancers, so freelance designers. I had 2 engineering co-ops who were really brilliant. They finished now, but they helped me a ton. I had a full-time salesperson back in London.
Were they with the Bets?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So for those who are listening who don't know what that is, University of Waterloo has a special program for, I think it's for first-year engineers, right? First or second-year engineers?
Yeah.
Who are looking for co-op experience where you can get them super cheap.
Yep, super cheap, and I think it's kind of focused around startups and...
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Startups and getting startup experience, but it's a limited time. It's not the full semester, right? It's a third of the semester, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
Can we get an engineer for our podcast?
Hey, sure. If we can get someone cheap, even free, that would be great. we could even get some video in the mix, maybe. But very cool. Okay.
Yeah. And I'm looking I'm hiring right now for a marketing person, so an inbound marketing person. So
okay. Very cool.
Everyone wants a job.
Are there any specifics about the position you want to share, just in case somebody's listening? And
so it's for someone to manage basically our inbound leads and to just manage that whole system. So to generate a lot of content, to fill out our blog, to put out a lot more information about how the printing process works and new things happening with our clients, new things happening in the industry, new things happening with our business, to just be, I think that packaging is so tricky because people don't understand it. And so I'm trying to make like I have a lot of knowledge, and so I'm trying to share that and make it very available and very understandable to small businesses. So I really need someone to help me sort of like lay that out and put it out in sort of like digestible small amounts.
Sure.
Do you a little bit of frosting, a little bit of sprinkles on some,
exactly.
A little bit of powdered sugar.
Sure. Do you do a lot of writing of that kind of content yourself?
I don't. Honestly, like I haven't had enough time.
Of course. You're too busy actually making money with the business. Yeah.
Just trying to run things. So yeah, no, I mean, I would love to. I just haven't had enough time.
Of course.
But it's something that's really important, and I want to share a lot with people. So
sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. And then to just manage inbound leads, that sort of thing.
And where do you see things heading? You're in the Velocity Garage now. Is this kind of a long-term situation for you, or are you thinking of the next step beyond this yet? Or
no, I haven't. It's like I'm sure my face is like, oh, no, I haven't. I don't know. I feel like every time I've moved, it's been very. Like it's just become really clear really quickly it was the time. I think I decided within 2 weeks that I was going to move from London. I just decided like, okay. And then 2 weeks later I moved here, and that was that. So
once you've made the
decision, like a feel thing, you know?
I was going to say, once you've made the move from like London to Northern Ireland to do a whole different career, going from London, Ontario to
Kitchener wasn't,
it's not a huge
wasn't a
leap,
traumatic
right?
move. So.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Ingersoll.
Fair enough. Very cool. Well, listen, I think it might be time for some sound effects.
Yep.
Might be time for the lightning round.
That was a lightning bolt. How did I do?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, I almost identified.
She reared back in fear.
We never kind of prep the guests enough for what to expect on this podcast, I think.
Yeah.
So we're
or the co-host.
Throw a bunch of semi-fast questions at you and see what you can throw back at us, I guess.
You ready?
Yeah, go for it.
What is your favorite Pantone? You like the 2530 or do you have one?
It's 114.
114.
U.
114U uncoated. Nice.
Yes.
Do you guys want to fill in those of us who have no clue what you're telling us?
So the Pantone is a color.
Right.
Sort of a color swatch.
In printing?
Yeah, it's the Pantone color management system. So it's like the universal standard for colors, and that all printers worldwide use. And the difference between Pantones and lithographic printing versus digital printing, say, is that we actually mix the inks. So just like a house paint. So we can achieve a really, really beautiful, fresh color. We can do fluorescence. We can do metallics. Unlike, say, a digital printer or a printer at home, everything is a combination of, say, cyan, magenta, yellow, black, or what have you. So it doesn't look as fresh. So Pantone 114 is a really beautiful warm yellow that you really can't achieve any other way.
And it's a standardization too. So
Right.
when somebody says yellow, you don't know what it is, but when somebody says 114, you know exactly what it is, right?
Gotcha.
Or
And then
you could look it up because I don't
right.
know what it is.
So like every brand will have its, like Coke will have its Pantone red, and then if someone's printing a Coke ad here or in Tokyo, it's going to look the exact same so that everything matches across the world.
Perfect.
Yeah.
There's some of that
Very cool.
sharing of knowledge she was talking about.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like I said, I'm learning so much on this podcast compared to other podcasts. My question for you is: now you've already told us you can do sheep shearing, but do you have any other hidden talents that we might not know about you?
I'm kind of scared about this question because
I don't know. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of something.
Do you do good in
How do you
impressions
how do you top sheep shearing?
Yeah, it's
You can't really.
it is tricky. Actually.
How did I not opt out of that question by saying
I
that?
just knocked that one right out.
All right, if you want to take your pass.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of something cool. I can sew.
Okay.
That's so banal compared to
No, that's all right because you've got both halves of the process, right? You can get the wool right from the animal and then eventually make that into something.
No, that's knitting.
Oh, that's knitting.
Come on.
Geez,
Typical man response.
Sorry. My wife crochets, but I know nothing about knitting, so fair enough. Okay.
I pitched
I wanna
my
come
mom
back
to
to
knit
that
me a
later.
beardo last night.
A what?
A beardo, which is like
can I
a
pass
hat
and come
beard?
back to that one?
Yeah,
Maybe I'll
no
think
problem.
of something else.
If something
I don't
else
know.
comes to mind.
So here's one for you. What you're sitting at a desk, and in front of you is your favorite box. You open it. What's in that? What's in your favorite box?
Well, right now, there's this bakery a block from my house called the Golden Hearth Bakery. Do you guys know that one?
No.
They make these peach danishes that are insane.
Do they offer
Really?
samples?
And like problematic because they have to run twice as far every day. But those would be in that box right now.
Where would we find the what was it called again?
It's called the Golden Hearth Bakery.
Golden Hearth, yeah.
It's like just across the street from the Kitchener Market.
Okay. That's not far. We live in downtown Kitchener, so we should know about that.
You should.
You're going directly there
My
after
wife
the podcast.
Should, yeah.
My wife goes to the market every Saturday, so
They're not at the market. Yeah, they're just across the
across the
street.
street. Yeah, fair
Saturday
enough.
mornings. You got to get there early.
That sounds like a find
Yeah.
because everybody's at the market. You wouldn't think just across the street
Yeah.
is a peach delight.
That's right. Yeah. Is it my turn with another question here? Okay. What is one startup skill that you have mastered?
I've mastered?
Yeah.
It's like a big show, right? Saying you've mastered something?
It's okay.
Okay, well, I don't want to say mastered, but
Really, really good at it.
no, well, really, really improved at. Like,
Right.
so I do a lot of sales, obviously, and I'm very chuffed with myself for, like, I'm quite introverted and quite shy, and so
I would never have guessed, honestly.
but I have, I don't know, it's like I've trained myself to be much more comfortable with sales. And I feel like that's like my biggest accomplishment in this business for sure. Because the other things,
awesome.
you know, like chatting to people at factories, that's like very easy and fun for me. But sales is hard. It's just hard in general, but
Yeah.
I find it super hard. And so it's been like a big learning curve for me.
See, that's something I would love to get better at. I think Steven's actually pretty good at sales.
I like it.
Because of you've had a lot of past experience. I've worked a few sales jobs in the past, and I just have very little motivation to actually make the sale. I'd rather just chat with people.
Right.
You're like a farmer, not a hunter.
I
or
guess.
Whatever.
Yeah. I guess.
Yeah, a gatherer. You need to be the ask for the check.
But
Your
sales,
closing skills
but
need a little
sales
work.
ability is so important, right? In business.
Startups,
So,
I feel like
yeah.
it's very, very undervalued. I feel like it is in business schools. We're not taught any sales
Right.
at business school.
Yeah.
And I know it's something that Velocity is like really emphasizing now and trying to get more into.
Yeah, absolutely. Steven.
Sarah, what drives you day to day? What makes you jump out of bed? Is it solving problems? Is it continually learning stuff? Is it what's the motivation
The
for
money?
you?
I'm just kidding.
No, I wouldn't say it's the money. I think that I like adventuring, and I feel like this is as close to like an adventure lifestyle as I can achieve. I don't know. That's what it feels like to me. I feel like any day I can kind of reinvent things however I want.
Does it scare you that this is going to get old for you then, or boring? Like once you become a master of it and you think, I got this, now I need
Another adventure.
something else.
But then I feel like it can and it does anyway. Whereas if I'm in more of a structured system or a system designed by someone else, then it's not like attuned to what I need. Whereas whenever I'm sort of like, oh, I'm tired of this side, let me get more into this, I find cool new opportunities there, or I can shift the business, or I can shift what my role is that day. And where it's going, and I can stop the business, or I can keep it going, or I can try to grow it, or I can kind of do whatever I want. It's like it all depends on me.
Yeah, so you're the master of your own adventure, and you can change it.
Yeah,
that makes
I like
sense.
that.
Yeah, cool.
Very cool. My question is, fill in the blank. I'm secretly terrified of what?
Spiders. I hate them.
Seriously terrified.
I have a cool spider story, but I'll tell you.
Okay,
after.
tell me
Yeah.
your spider story while
you're
of it.
thinking.
Give her a second.
So the other night, my wife and I are getting ready for bed, and we look up in the corner of our bedroom and see something kind of wiggling up there, right? And so my wife is like, "What's that?" I go up and look, and it's a spider that's caught an earwig and is like wrapping it up.
Doing the death
like
dance.
into a sushi roll for
That's
dinner,
right.
like
Packaging it up, so to speak.
That's the alligator roll.
Yeah, getting ready to take care of it. So I'm like, well, you know what? We don't want any earwigs in here. That spider seems to be taking care of it for us. So let's just let him finish what it's doing.
It's a very optimistic response to finding a spider.
maybe
in
he'll
middle
find
of
the
night.
exit after that.
I'm like, once he's finished with the earwig, we can kill them both. But that was 2 days ago. I still haven't taken care of that yet. Because
So
I'm
it
afraid
wasn't
that
his
both
last
of
meal.
them-
Jeez.
Yeah. Anyway, there's my spider
I
story.
can't honestly. The main thing I'm scared of is like Ferris wheels and
Interesting.
like open spaces. Like open spaces are underneath me.
Okay.
I don't know how to describe it really well.
Yeah.
But
Like kind of like heights, but
but I'm fine
wide
with heights
open
because there's a
heights.
thing underneath
Yeah,
me.
like
I'm
going
fine in
over a bridge, I get that
airplanes.
feeling in my stomach
Yeah.
too sometimes. You're
I
like,
just
Yeah.
Ferris wheels and like any kind of like roller coaster, skydiving. I will never do any of those.
Zip lining?
Nope.
Gotcha.
Oh no, I've done zip lining.
Okay.
But that you're kind of close to the ground there.
right.
You couldn't be, yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess if you're not, I've done like amateur zip lining. Then
Yeah.
Sure.
that's it.
Okay.
That's what I can think of right now.
Fair enough. No problem.
Cool. Another question for you. Tomorrow, I am paying for 3 top-notch employees for Georgette Packaging. So you mentioned that you're hiring a marketing person.
Yeah.
So I assume that would be one. Who are the next, who's 2 and 3? Who else are you hiring?
I'd say 2 would be probably an executive assistant. There's a lot of just like admin stuff in the business that I think I probably don't need to be doing. That takes a lot of my time.
Dry cleaning's got to get picked up.
Just someone who's like super organized, because they're all like these little pieces of data floating around that really need to be nailed down and kept track of. So that'd be probably the second. And then the third, I guess would be, my developer. If I could shift that into a full-time role, that would be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Cool.
Sounds good. The last thing I'm going to ask you here is, can you give us one piece of advice for new startups in 5 words or less?
Go learn to do sales.
Go learn to do sales. Yeah, that works. Yeah. Excellent. And I guess we should throw out the bonus question to you here. Toilet paper, fold or scrunch?
I don't even get the point of that question.
Thank you, Sarah.
When you're sitting there finishing your business, are you folding something? Are you folding it or are you scrunching it?
Yeah, I think scrunching is more efficient usage of paper.
Really?
Yeah.
I would.
Wow, I didn't think of scrunching as an efficiency kind of win.
I would say folding is more efficient.
Kind of in the paper industry, guys.
Yeah,
I was going to say,
it.
What do I know about packaging?
Yeah,
right?
I totally get it. So that's a firm win for my side, Darren. The scrunchers are way more efficient. We have an engineer that said that.
Yeah.
No, Darren's a folder, I'm a scruncher.
You can claim that you have an expert that's on your side of the argument, I suppose. I think I still have the numbers on my side.
Darren tried to find a question that had the
broadest
market reach possible.
We've asked a lot of people, past guests, so we're slowly building up a database of results here. Yeah.
I think we've only not asked one person.
Really? Did we ask
Why did you decide not to ask them?
Because it was Michael Weckerly, and we were afraid. He's the dragon.
Yeah, maybe. Did we ask everybody last?
I think
at
we've
the
asked
Ambient
almost
Intelligence
everybody else.
Conference?
I don't know. Well, oof.
We'll have to re-listen to that podcast again. It's funny how little I remember of what we've recorded in the past. It all kind of blends together after a while.
Darren's doing a fart app, so he's trying to get some metrics on.
I got to get my VR app. I'll get that done first. But I feel like I have learned so much today, which is awesome. Cool. We can be both entertaining and educational. Hopefully, hopefully entertaining. I shouldn't like toot our own horn too much on that front.
Well, I think we are educational in that scrunching is economical. I learned something today. I feel better now.
In Sarah's quite expert opinion. Yes, sure. Fair enough. I will grant you that.
I'll take it.
Well, on that note, guys, I think it's a good time to wrap up. And I've seen a few people peering into our room here, so maybe somebody else is supposed to be using it at this point. So let's.
Not till 12:30.
Yeah, let's. Oh, do we have it booked till 12:30? Oh, fair enough.
I think they're just looking for pastries.
It could be. It could
they
be.
know Sarah's in
or
here.
they finally found you guys.
Yeah,
and
they're just
time's
looking
up.
for us. It could be that. Let's put a wrap on things. So we'll throw out a few thank yous here. First of all, thank you very much to Sarah Landstreet for joining us on the podcast. Mm-hmm. From Georgette Packaging, we should throw that in. I don't think we've said that enough since the beginning of the podcast. Georgette Packaging.
From Laverne and Shirley.
Yes. No, not Laverne and Shirley.
Oh, sorry, no. Mary Tyler Moore, yeah.
It's one of those.
Same time frame.
Yeah, that's right. We want to thank the Velocity Garage for letting us record here again in the Trogdor room. And we want to thank you, our listeners, for joining us on another episode of TSP Weekly. Please feel free to send us your comments, questions, criticism, feedback, anything you want to send us, packaging,
mystery box ideas,
cupcakes,
peach
recipes.
danishes.
We're happy with all of the above. Our email address is feedback@tspweekly.com, or you can send us a message on Twitter. Our Twitter handle is @TSPWeekly. So from myself, Darren Conley, my co-host Stephen Campbell, and our guest Sarah Landstreet from Georgette Packaging, thank you so much for joining us here today, and we'll see you all next week.